It is the Blitz here on 94.1, a San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minnick. The Blitz live tomorrow at 49 Cigars up in Stone Oak, the Villages of Stone Oak. Come hang out with us 2 to 6. We'll have college football at least, getting close to the NFL. But as we visit now with the great RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com on the Buyers Barricades guest line, as well as live on our YouTube channel. You can see RJ and all the cool things behind him. Subscribe to the San Antonio Sports Star YouTube channel. I'm curious, RJ, the celebration you had when CeeDee Lamb put pen to paper.
It's great to be with you both, as usual. And it was a celebration. It was in all caps, let's freak out. However, I'm extraordinarily blessed to do the things that I do for a living. And so while it was very cool, it was also a matter of like, crap, now I have like 400 things to do. So it was short-lived and then spent in the lab. But it was wonderful to see the Cowboys pay a lot more than they would have had to if they'd gotten this done when they should have.
I knew it was coming.
Absolutely. So you think it would have been less? Huh? I mean, what do you think? And I mean this in all sincerity, RJ. What do you think the Cowboys could have gotten away with? 30 million, 32?
I think that Tyreek Hill obviously set the mark at $30 million, as far as annual average value is concerned last year, the spring of 2023. And I think that if you're a proper organization, you tell yourself our first-round picks, our cornerstones, our franchise guys, we're going to have to set the market. We have to eat this crap. We have to do it at a certain point in time. So, CeeDee, we're going to come to you now. We're going to overwhelm you. We're going to offer you $30 million a year because not only is this the way things go, but because we know that a year from now, Justin Jefferson's going to want to get paid. Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, Brandon Ayuk. We know those things are coming. So we're going to pay 32 now. We're going to let Joe Reinagel get his jokes off on Blitz now. But a year from now, in August of 24, we're going to look like geniuses when Jamar Chase is holding out because he doesn't want to practice.
Wow.
It's true.
And that's happening.
Well, it is. Now, the only thing that we don't know, and we'll never know, what was CeeDee's asking price to begin with? Could it have been ultimately where he got, as his agent was trying to forecast what the market was going to be? And the Cowboys were hoping that they wouldn't have to reset the market, especially if that's ultimately what they end up paying, which I do think a lot of that goes on. Now, Jerry Jones talking today, because now that CeeDee is done, Dak becomes the priority. The sounds as if there's been no deadline given by Dak's agent, which honestly surprises me a little bit if Dak wants to be a Cowboy long term, because we know deadlines make deals, especially in Dallas. Jerry said today that negotiations could go into the regular season. When you hear that, do you think maybe they're farther apart than we think they are?
I think the Cowboys are flailing. I think that Dak has the Cowboys, it's first and goal from the 1-inch line. And the Cowboys are up against it thinking like, what can we do? Like, we just pump up the crowd, do anything, everything, hold the random cue cards up on the side that have the Burger King burgers or something, like just do anything to distract this offense from getting in the end zone. And so I think it's posturing. And I think that, it's been said by a lot of people, if Dak would be stupid, honestly, till the season start and then broker a deal, unless it was some Godfather, unbelievable, can't believe it sort of offer. Because he is right there. He is this close to the end of the tunnel. So unless the Cowboys completely and totally exceed all expectations that he has, it serves him well. He's what now? The season is 12 days away. He's 12 days away, not even. He's like 4 days away from entering weekly regimen until the season is over, and then he can just let the money present itself to him in the spring.
So when you say that, and Jason and I had a little debate about this yesterday. You seem to be of the same mind as Jason that if Dak hits the free agent market, just every team in the NFL is going to line up for this guy and open up their checkbook and bring up a Brinks truck full of cash. Do you really think that?
I don't think what you said, because you changed, I'm sure, Jason's point.
Yes, he did. Of course he did. You know Joe well enough.
Yeah. No, nobody is saying every team.
Nope.
But for the record, all it takes is one. And we don't know factually what teams will be looking for quarterbacks in the spring of 2025. That's true. But if we can extrapolate and we can put on our big boy pants and our big boy glasses and kind of be mature adults about this, we can say, well,
he's talking to you, Ryan Eagle.
Yeah, I know who he's talking to.
It looks like the New York Giants are going to need a quarterback. It looks like Tennessee Titans. It looks like the Las Vegas Raiders. And you know what, Joe Ryan Eagle? Every year, there are all sorts of teams who are looking for quarterbacks that we were talking about them the August before, had no idea. 2 years ago, if I told you that it was a surprise that Russell Wilson beat out Justin Fields for the starting job in Pittsburgh, of all places, you would have said, what the hell happened? Crazy crap happens in the NFL. This is the most dire position in professional sports. So much so that some organizations will overlook criminal histories, pending litigation, and hand you upwards of $200 million fully guaranteed in the name of a chance. It is that dire of a thing. So I completely and totally believe that there will be multiple, and all it takes once again is one, but multiple teams seeking Dak Prescott services because, that's the way this goes. And on top of it, as if there weren't enough leverage in Dak Prescott's back pocket, the quarterback class coming out of college, I don't care what Colorado looks like tomorrow, does not look promising. So every NFL team is going to want a piece of this if they can get it.
I think the difference is, RJ, is you're going to have to start at $60 million a year. And that's going to be the difference, and that's going to wipe some teams off the map. Now, you're right. There may be one or two that will be willing to do that, but I don't think there's going to be this long list of teams that are going to be waiting to pay Dak Prescott $60 million a year.
We just saw multiple teams interested in Kirk Cousins' services. Kirk Cousins, admittedly a tier below Dak, and admittedly coming off of a torn Achilles. Again, if you represent hope, that is, and people say like, oh, well, I would 59, but I wouldn't pay 60. You know how stupid that sounds?
That's stupid, yes.
Do you know how dumb it is to say like, nope, that's it. I draw the line there. My line of being a relevant NFL team stops with $1 more million per year. Again, that's why I'd be foolish. I mean, honestly, if Dak were my friend, if it were Jason asking me, I'd say, hey, dude, look, you are this close. Like, you might as well see this thing through. You might as well get to true unadulterated free agency and let every team line up to give you all the money in the world.
RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com joining us here on the Blitz. And, I've said there could be 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 teams, and you create a bidding war, and there's no guarantee that Dak would even give Jerry an opportunity. You said in that last 5 minutes or less, hope and a chance.
Uh-huh.
And Jerry uses the term, you're hanging around the rim. The fact that Dak's playoff record is what it is. Regular season is there. Playoff Prescott's a term I use, and that's not a good term because he sucks in the postseason. But he gives you a chance. He gives you hope. But with his tenure with the Cowboys and what he has not accomplished in the postseason, is there still that hope and chance with Dak Prescott with the Cowboys, or where another organization would love to have that opportunity to have him fail that fan base in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, look, would I rather live in a world from a sanity standpoint where Dak Prescott had all this playoff success? Totally, absolutely. But I mean, this becomes the conversation for obvious reasons. And the team Dak plays for obviously exacerbates the issue, and the fact that they're living in and fighting this massive shadow ultimately is a factor as well. But I think that we dilute this point and make it seem like Dak is this like supreme loser relative to his contemporaries. I mean, tell me what Justin Herbert's playoff record is.
That's apples and oranges, RJ. Apples and oranges.
Why is it apples and oranges? Justin Herbert actually blew a massive playoff lead 2 years ago, but we act like everything is everybody else's fault except for Justin Herbert. I mean, again, I would offer Trevor Lawrence as an example. We also don't pick at things the way we do with Dak. Look at his most impressive playoff outing and say, well, it was against the below 500 Buccaneers. Okay, let's apply this same kind of conversation to everybody else. Jalen Hurts has 2 playoff wins. One was against the Daniel Jones-led Giants. We all agree that they stink. The other was against the literally quarterbackless San Francisco 49ers. People make a big deal about the playoff game that Jalen Hurts lost after those 2 because he played so well despite the fact that the Eagles did not win. Consider that, the Kansas City Chiefs, even though they've won the Super Bowls and deserve all the credit in the world for that, they've beaten some tomato cans in the playoffs. They had an AFC championship win over the Titans, right? And does anybody care?
Gosh.
No. they deserve all the credit in the world. And Dak Prescott deserves his fair share of criticism. And consider, once again, that we talk about the 49ers like they're this daddy, right? Like, oh, the Niners are amazing. Kyle Shanahan's amazing. 2 of the 3 playoff losses this team has had in the last 3 years have been to the team. And the other one was to the Green Bay Packers, who we all agree have the next great thing at the quarterback position. It is super unfortunate and very frustrating and, incredibly unbelievable that the Cowboys managed to run into these insane threats after threats after threats. Aaron Rodgers, of all people, was their bugaboo forever. It's not like they can't get over Ryan Tannehill. It's not like Kyler Murray's wiping the floor with them in the division round. They're losing to some all-time people. What a shame that they are maybe the second best in the line of some really amazing people in the NFL.
RJ, do you need a hug?
I'm feel fantastic.
Are you sure? You sure?
I'm laying out the facts as they are.
You need a hug or a shot of Fireball, something.
Well, let's lay out the facts as they are. Can we just do this real quick?
Yeah, here we go.
Because Dak Prescott got paid. Do we agree? At that one time, he was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Was he not?
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. Been true for like 9 people.
Yeah, I'm just saying, hang on, hear me out, and then I'm going to shut up and you can respond and tell me how wrong I am. Okay. So he got that paid, and he got paid on a potential of what he could do moving forward. When you talk about Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert or Jalen Hurts or whomever else Tua or whoever else got paid this year, that's what they're getting paid on. Dak Prescott now is going into his second time. Are we still going to pay this man on what we think his potential is going to be?
I disagree in the most aggressive way possible because he has never been paid for potential. Joe, this is the 3rd August 28th in 6 years that Dak Prescott has entered a contract year with the Dallas Cowboys. It has never been a matter of, dude, we're going to pay you because we think you're going to deliver over the course of this contract. We're going to get here early. It has been a matter of, we are going to wait till the absolute 11th hour to pay you. And that's not paying for potential. That's getting all the juice out of the orange that you possibly can.
Well, then why would you pay the guy if it's not a potential? I mean, if you don't think he can win, why do you pay the man the highest paid contract in the NFL?
Joe, who is the player in the NFL that you pay at the end of their career? I would like to understand the people that aren't being paid for potential.
That's my whole point. So Dak is not at the end of his career, but he's certainly –
Is he at the end of his run in Dallas?
We're heading into
the
fall
enough. He
of his
wants
career.
Somebody else to be mad at.
I think that people this conversation and this argument gets cyclical because people assume that people who are pro-Dak are afraid of any opportunity, any other venture, whatever the case may be. If this was a team like, say, the Green Bay Packers that had a history of identifying talent and a history of building teams in a proper way, I'd feel much more comfortable about them rolling the dice, besides the fact that we're talking about the MVP runner from last season. But this is a team that for now, basically 30 years, has struggled, not just generally, but mightily at finding the most important position in the game. The 2 quarterbacks who they have stumbled upon were true, absolute backwards ass falling into lotto tickets by way of an undrafted free agent who they took 4 years to recognize, and a 4th-round draft pick who only entered the game because Kellen Moore broke his ankle and Joe Showers was bad enough at quarterback that he had to go play safety. So, again, this is a team that can't do the things that they're on the verge of trying to do. And this is a team that we can't even trust to build a proper roster around him because Dak Prescott himself is sitting in a position with historic levels of leverage against this team. So you can't even sit here and hypothesize and say, well, what if they go get a rookie quarterback and they're savvy enough to go get these players on these other contracts in the trade? What on earth gives you the confidence that if they do move on from Dak, they could go outfit that roster, set that quarterback up for success? And people love to say, well, they need to save money so they can go spend in free agency. They had Dak Prescott on the cheapest possible quarterback contract that anybody had throughout that entire run because he was on a 4th-round rookie deal. And what did they do to outfit the roster and help him go to the Super Bowl? Nothing, except put the bullseye on him so that people like you could come and sit here and say how he's run his course in the team.
RJ Ochoa, bloggingtheboys.com, joining us here on the Blitz, the fireworks every Wednesday.
This is great.
Katy Perry in the background somewhere.
It's great. It's never Dak's fault. That's what I love. It's always Jerry's fault or somebody else's fault.
It could absolutely be Dak's
fault.
fault.
Of course, they had a great team last year, RJ. They had a team, and everything fell into place. And Dak throws 2 interceptions early in that game that led to 14 points, and bam, the waterfall started.
all of that is true. Like that, multiple things can be true. It can be true that, Joe, they sucked. They blew. They were awful in the most important moment, and that is disappointing and that is devastating. But you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Do you think the Baltimore Ravens are sitting here and saying, man, Lamar sucked in that AFC Championship game? Do you think the Buffalo Bills are saying, like, yeah, you know what, Josh Allen, he was terrible? Do you think the Cincinnati Bengals, that loser Joe Burrow got hurt after we gave him $200 million? No, because they all have the misfortune of playing in the era of Patrick Mahomes. It is a really, really frustrating thing, but you don't have to freak out. It is embarrassing. It is frustrating. You should absolutely try to not do that again, obviously. You don't have to act like he's the worst person to ever live because he lost the playoff game once again to a quarterback that we all now agree is like a top 5 dude in the NFL. You can't sit here and on one hand say Jordan Love is amazing, he's awesome, but the Cowboys are these chumps for losing to him 9 months ago.
I just can't wait till Dak gets to lose to Patrick Mahomes, because if that happens, they've at least made the Super Bowl, and according to Ryan Eagle, that is good enough. Let's shift gears a little bit here, RJ. Dalvin Cook. Are we really supposed to be excited about Dalvin Cook to have 2 running backs combined might have half a tank? Dalvin Cook?
Look, I don't mean to make this about Dak, but Joe's over here, like, I bet on out of one side of his mouth saying, like, this is so stupid of the Cowboys. Yeah, these are the dudes. Dak cannot Bobby Flay and beat Bobby Flay with the kitchen with infinite ingredients. This is chopped. This is Fruit Loops and, you know,
Captain Crunch, RJ.
And exactly, like,
keep your hands out of them.
Difficult. All 4 running backs on the Cowboys roster, although Dalvin Cook obviously on the practice, had negative rush yards over expectation last year. That is a statistic that filters out the play of the offensive line. That is literally how many yards you had relative to expectation, to the holes that you were allowed, that you could have created. All 4 of them had negative rush yards over expectation last year. Dalvin Cook had negative 83. And yeah, I know 2 years ago he had 1,100 total yards with the Minnesota Vikings. He had a negative rush yards over expectation then. That's where the downhill started. Is Dalvin Cook a nice idea in theory? Sure. I think he's a player that could help teams. But like I talked about with the Zeke Elliott thing back when the Cowboys brought him back, the moment that when you're depending on this, that's what makes it so dumb and that's what makes it so stupid. And if you're sitting here like, well, guys, we need help at running back. We know. We've been screaming you for 6 months that you need help at running back. You should have been active in the earlier parts. If you're trying to find these dudes in August, you're doing it wrong.
Like draft one, when they had the opportunity. I think Trey Benson was there, and that might have been a pretty good pick in the third round.
Everybody was there, but they wanted Maris Liufau out of Notre Dame. Joe, do you even know what number Maris Liufau was?
I have no clue, no.
Well, I imagine you would rather that be a running back.
I would.
Go get your journeyman linebacker in the final days of August instead of the dude who you're going to hand the ball off
to. I love you, RJ. You know that.
Good stuff, man.
I love you both. I'm surprised you both survived Vegas. You're like 43rd trip to Vegas, in the last few whatevers. By the way, Joe, Maris Liufau is number 35. That'll be on the quiz.
Okay, thank you. I'll remember that.
Yeah. What number does he wear?
35.
Where'd he go to school?
Notre Dame.
There you go. Yeah. He's listening.
You, Joe.
Yeah.
Right.
And I hate Notre Dame. It's horrible. Domers.
Colorado wins tomorrow and gives Joe something to scream about on Friday.
Yeah, there we go. We need that. Make sure you're following RJ Ochoa on Twitter and reading him at bloggingtheboys.com at RJ Ochoa. Appreciate you, my friend.
Love
See ya. RJ Ochoa on the Buyers Barricades guest line, where they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond, online at buyersbarricades.com.